Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Sarah Martin with The Contoured Chemist. So today's video is gonna be a little bit different. I'm not putting on my makeup today. I already have my makeup on. I'm gonna give you some tips and tricks that maybe you haven't heard before, or maybe it's things that you should know in the beginning if you're new to Maskcara Beauty and 3D foundation and all of this goodness, but these are things that will help you when you get started. Some things that you might not hear in an everyday tutorial that make a world of difference in how you put on your makeup every day. So if you want to see some non-application tips and tricks, please keep watching. Be sure to like and subscribe so you see my next tutorial. And thanks for being here. All right, friends, let's go ahead and just jump right into it. If you could only see what was beneath me, you'd be like, wow, Sarah, you're not as organized as I thought. I literally have stacks of compacts, like everywhere. Okay, so I've been asked a lot lately about tips for setting up your compact. So if you are brand new to mascara and you get like your makeup for the very first time, you're not gonna have as many options, but just wait. You will become obsessed, I'm sure of it. Most do. And when you hit obsession level, your collection grows. And then you need like a triple just to hold your daily makeup. And so people are asking me, how do I set these up? Like, what's the best, are there any like best practices? And yes, there are. So obviously, it depends on how many compacts you have, if you've hit this status yet, or if you've just simply started with, oh my gosh, I don't even have one of the quads over here. Simply just started with a quad. So quad holds 4. I will be honest, most of my clients do not start with this. They'll start with at least a hack stack. So a hack stack holds 8, okay? 8 full-size 10s. And this is great because the number one thing we recommend is that you have your creams on a separate level as your shadows. So I have a bunch of shadows. I was looking for those. I have a bunch of shadows in this one. You'll have to excuse me because I literally have makeup in all of these all over the place. So don't do what I say, not what I do. I'm just kidding. So anyway, it's good practice to keep your creams separate from your powders. And one of the reasons why is because as you're using your powders, you know, fallout happens, right? So the dust kind of comes up, and if they are in the same level as your creams, you can start to get kind of a layer on top of your creams that then you'd have to wipe off. Wiping off means that you're gonna lose product. So although it's not like horrible or anything, still, we don't want to waste our precious creams, right? So in the unfortunate event that you drop your compact, which I feel like it's happened to all of us, if any of your powders break or any of your shadows break and your creams are in there, then it can get real messy and you might kind of have to lose your creams. But usually if only like one powder breaks, you can clean that up really easily. The powders wipe off to where they don't mix, right? Creams are a little bit different. They're sticky. So that is my first tip. Separate creams and powders. My favorites are the hack stack. Again, that holds 8. Then most people will go up to the mini double decker. So the mini hold, I told you guys they're everywhere. The mini holds 12, but it's free with 10. And that's the purchase of 10, any single 10. So that is the best deal. And then it will go up to the double. I laugh every time I open one because I have no idea what's in them. And this one holds 18. Now, right now, the triple is out of stock, and I'm not sure. I'm sure it's, fingers, toes crossed. I'm sure it's coming back. But they don't keep us up to date really on compacts, just heads up. Really, they just keep us up to date with inventory of the actual shades. So I'm sure it will come back, but it will probably come back in new designs. But we do have a triple, which is what I've been using to put my makeup on every day. For me, it's like the perfect size for on the go, yet still can hold all of my options, right? So again, I have creams on the top two, and then powders all on the bottom. Another option, if you maybe don't travel as much with your makeup, but you still want to have it all kind of in one palette, which I do find is the easiest because as you can see, I forget what's in each one, and it wastes time to have to sit there and open compacts, right? That's why we got away from traditional makeup and digging in a makeup bag and opening bottles. It's time consuming. So having it in one compact definitely helps. So once you fill up one, you definitely would have to upgrade to the next larger size, or you can separate them by type, which I also do as well. I'll show you in a second. So another option is to get an artist palette. So these are available to customers. This is the single. It's literally just one layer with a big mirror, and I can put my full face with options in this one level. And so then when I'm doing my makeup, I always have a mirror and I don't have to open or close anything. Everything's right there. It is probably the fastest way to do my makeup. When I want fast, I will just grab this bad boy, which is why I have them all filled, and I'll just sit it in front of me and do my makeup. And so that is one of my favorite ways, is the single level artist. I also, like I said, do them by type. So I've pulled out half of them, but this is my Illuminator. So I try to keep like all of the same things together. Now that's when you get like really obsessed. If you are collecting all of the lip and cheeks, you'll need at least a double because it won't fit all in a single. And I don't even have them all in here. And eyeshadows as well. Okay, you would have to have a double to fit them all. We also have triples. Okay, so this one is no longer available. Everybody like write in and say, please bring back the blue artist compact. And maybe they will, because it is like, you guys, I have it like taped because I've been using this for 3 years and it's my favorite. And I can't get rid of it. So this one has every shade, which obviously if you want to do it by, I don't have anything in there. If you want to do it by like all like highlights, contours, if you're really OCD like kind of I am a little bit, then you can do it that way. My recommendation for the everyday person is to do them in order of application. And that is like my number one when you are starting out with this makeup. I like to do it in the order you're gonna apply. So for me, if you don't know, with the highlights, you always go darkest to lightest. So I do my color corrector, then my main shade, then my brightener. If you contour first, put your contour first. It makes it so easy when you are brand new to this makeup and you can't look at a color and tell what it is, to put it in order of application. That way you never have to pull them out and look in the back and be like, which one is that? Do it that way. Now, once you get more options, then it becomes a little bit harder. You kind of have to look and tell the difference, or put them in order from lightest to darkest, or darkest to lightest, whatever your preference. But if you're brand new and you don't know, all of our makeup comes in these gorgeous tins. Don't throw them out, the lids, and they simply slide up and they're all magnetic. So all you do is you drop them in your compact of choice. Now, like I said, do not throw these away. They actually have a purpose. I've shared this in another video, but they have this lip on them so that you never dig your fingers in the creams. You can slide it in between the shades and pop them out, okay? So it always amazes me how many people don't know that, but keep at least 110 lid so you can do that. Now these are also really travel friendly. So you can easily just keep, say, your favorite lip and cheek shade in your tin lid and pop it out and put it directly on your lips during the day for touch-ups. Another favorite is a square. So our squares hold 4 eyeshadows or 2 full-size 10s. Now they're not free with 2 full-size 10s unless they're powders. So they're only free with 2 powders or 4 eyeshadows. But I love to be able to just throw in a lip and cheek and then maybe my solid perfume or an illuminator or even your lip balm and carry this in your purse. So that's a great add-on, so you always have stuff for touching up. I love that. Or you can just simply have your quad. Say you got a quad the first time free and then your collection grew out of hand. And so you're like, I don't need this little thing anymore. That doesn't hold anything. It's great for eyeshadows once you start growing your collection there. But otherwise I'd say throw it in your bag for touch-ups. Have some touch-up colors in here if you touch up. If not, it's great. You can make a lip kit and put a contour, your lip balm, and a couple of lip shades, and that is your own personal lip kit you can keep in your purse as well. Or you can pretty much get a full face in a hack stack and keep that in your bag as well. So it kind of depends on like how you like to, if you do travel a lot. My favorite, of course, I have many of these. My favorite, of course, my biggest recommendation, if you travel a lot or if you're like me and you put your makeup on in car line a lot. Oh, no! Oh my gosh, guys. I haven't opened it in a while. Oh no. Don't do what I did. Oh my gosh, that was my custom shade. If you guys, oh my gosh, you guys, I'm gonna cry. Okay, I'm not gonna cry on camera. So, anyway, this is the clutch. Don't leave it in your car like I obviously did. I have not opened this in a while because we've been quarantined and I haven't left my house or put my makeup on in the car in a long time. So I made some custom shades, if you saw over on Instagram, where I mixed my own lip and cheeks, and I said how they were super soft. Obviously they melted at a lower temperature. So this was not a normal lip and cheek color. I mixed it with eyeshadows and other lip and cheeks, and man, it's okay. It will wipe clean. I have my brush cleaner. It will completely wipe clean. I can wipe these off. I'm really lucky it did not get into my powder. So that's the one thing I don't do, is I don't keep my powder separate in my clutch, but holy moly. All right, wasn't expecting to see that. Keep it. Luckily, it looks like I had it pretty flat. If you keep it flat and it melts, you can open it up and it will cool back down. It looks like I had it probably like this, and I kind of spilled a little. Dang it. Okay, what was I saying? Anyway, that's the clutch. It is also my wallet. And I'm one of those horrible people that leaves my wallet in my car all the time. So, lesson learned. I learned my lesson. All right, that was the first time I've ever had a melting catastrophe. Dang, those custom shades. I should have known they'd melt early. They were really soft to the touch. So, where was I? Okay, back to how you can kind of arrange it. So, for my brand new people, I definitely recommend doing it in order of application. So for me, that would be, this isn't exactly order because I have them in multiple layers. But if I was going to, let me just show you. I would grab, can I find a compact not full? That is the question. Oh my gosh, they're everywhere, guys. They're everywhere. All right, let me pull some of these out. Okay, if I was going to say set up this compact for the very first time, what I would do is I like more coverage. So I always put on my color corrector first. If you're a natural girl or still learning how to contour and you like to contour first, by all means, put your contour in first and you can contour. So it will kind of give you a nice guideline of like what to apply and in what order. For me, I first color correct because darkest always goes first. Then I put on my main shade. So I have evened my entire face out and it's all one color. And then I contour. Okay, so my beginning of mine would be color corrector, main shade, contour. So then I like to brighten. So I'd put in my brightener, okay? Then I add my lip and cheek. And then I would add, where is it? Where did my illuminator go? Oh, I just put it in that square. Guys, I'm a hot mess. Where did I put my square? It's okay, it's okay. I'm gonna pop it out real quick. I've dug it. There's already a hole in this one because I dug my finger into it once. Don't do as I did. So then I would put my illuminator. Okay, then I would go to the second level and I would put in my powder. Then I powder. And that's where I would throw in my eyeshadows as well. So that way I can keep those separate, but still have my full face, have room to grow, and then you would kind of just follow it in order as you're learning. And obviously if you kind of switch it up and then you're like, I like to contour first, move them around, okay? They're not permanent in here. So once you gain more, I definitely feel like it's nice to kind of put them in somewhat of an order. For me, I like to put my eyeshadows in kind of color categories, and I've obviously have half of mine out of here, but I try to put like lightest, okay, and then I go in like my warm tones, pinks, purples, shimmery neutrals kind of thing. I go into my blues, greens, glitters, creams, and I like to kind of keep them within their own little category. Some people like to make like little groups of colors in their palette of great color combos. So they would put like a highlight, a mid-tone matte, a shimmery shade, and a deep shade, and that would make an eyeshadow look. So if you struggle like coming up with like combinations because you just have so many and it's like overwhelming, try putting them in groups of 4, or you can simply line them up as like highlight shades, okay? Put all your shimmery brighteners there, and then you can put all of your fun shimmers, all of your mid-tone mattes, and then all of your darks. So that would be another great method. I think that's what I had for the first like 3 years, and I recently just kind of moved them around for color when I was doing my eyeshadow based on eye color, and I needed to see all of the tones. So kind of depending on how your brain works, those are all great ways. And I also like to do lip and cheeks kind of in categories as well, where I do glossies and then satins and then mattes, and I try to do like neutrals, then my pinks, and then my reds and deep dark shades. So I could do that as well. So I don't know if that helps. I hope that helps. You guys, I'm still thinking about my clutch. I will be honest. I'm just like, so sad. Okay. So that is how I recommend kind of setting up your palette. Again, it's gonna kind of depend upon your collection amount. Once you get bigger, I feel like I used to kind of keep one palette in each category, or you can just have highlights and contours on one level, and then your lip and cheek options. That's kind of what I do with my triple. I just took them all out of there. Now I don't, lip and cheeks, bronzers, and then my eyeshadows, powders. But I hope that helped give you some ideas. If you have any questions regarding compacts, don't do as I do, let me know, and I'd be happy to try to help answer. Okay. So the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take you over to my bathroom, and we're gonna talk about the perfect way to get your Perfector perfect. Because I will be honest, when I started with this company, I thought this little thing was an optional add-on. I used the one by the other name for years. I didn't know if there would really be a difference. And I honestly did not use it with the makeup because I would blend with my brush. But now that I know what I know, and I know exactly how to get this at the perfect consistency, to me, it's a game changer. And to me, it makes the biggest difference in the way my makeup looks. If you look back on pictures of me, I don't feel like I was getting the look of skin when I first started with this makeup. And that's because of this, because I wasn't using it. But it can be a little bit tricky if you don't know how, if you don't know that these have to be wet, if you don't know how to exactly get it at that perfect damp consistency. I'm gonna show you how real quick. That way you can get that flawless finish. Even if you blend with a brush like I do, you still should use this in order to press it into the skin, remove excess, and make it look like skin again, and prevent creasing, because we don't want to crease, right? So I'm gonna take you to my bathroom real quick. All right, guys, you'll have to excuse the horrible lighting, but welcome to my bathroom. So we're gonna talk about the Perfector. Currently it's only available in pink. Yes, I need to wash this one. I just used it. This is at its full size once expanded. This is what it looks like dry. So we no longer have the blue ones, but this is completely dry. If you were to use this on the face, it might remove, no, it's not gonna remove anything. It will kind of help blend slightly, but it's not gonna remove any excess. Okay, this one still has water in it. If I was to use this on the face, it would pull my makeup off in patches. And it's not gonna look pretty. I'm gonna lose coverage and it's not gonna work very well. So what you wanna do, first step, is take your dry Perfector, and while it's underwater, I want you to be squeezing it like this, okay? Squeeze, release, squeeze, release, squeeze, release, until you feel it completely fill and no longer is getting any bigger. So I do this a good, I don't know, 10 times, okay? If you're not squeezing, it can't fully fill with water, okay? Now I'm gonna squeeze it out all the way. My biggest tip is to squeeze this as much as you possibly can and shake it out every time. It's great. It's gonna like give you more hand strength, right? Grip strength. You wanna squeeze it and shake it. And you really wanna do that as many times as it takes for you to get out all the water, okay? Now so now it's nice and pillowy, it's very soft, okay? But I can still feel water on my hand, okay? So next, I'm gonna take an absorbent towel. And I'm not just talking like any towel. My favorite are like flour sack towels, is that what they're called? Because I have a lot of towels in my house that aren't very absorbent, and then I have ones that are. So find an absorbent towel. And what I do, let me grab this one. Okay, because this one is not absorbent, I know that. I'm going to put it inside my towel and I'm gonna squeeze it again, okay? I'm gonna grab it and I'm gonna put it in a different part of my towel and squeeze it again. And I do that at least 2 to 3 times, okay? And then I kind of feel, and then I'm like, okay, it's better. It's no longer feeling super wet to the touch. It should just feel cold, not necessarily damp. I know they're always saying a damp Perfector, but you don't really want it super damp. You just want it cold to the touch, okay? If it's got wrinkles and stuff in it, it's not gonna affect it whatsoever. That happens with packaging. This one is newer, so it hasn't been used as much. And over time, those all kind of work themselves out. Now, once it starts cracking, it's time for a new one. This one hasn't cracked yet. That is kind of your cue that you need a new Perfector. They recommend every 3 months getting a new one. I have had some last longer than that. It depends on how much you use them, how often you're applying your makeup. But you also can just clean it. I like Dawn dish soap. It makes them look brand new again, gets off all the makeup, and it will kind of sanitize it as well. I even spray ours with the Houdini brush cleaner because that sanitizes. and I'm good to go. So let's go back into the other room so I can show you a little bit more. Okay, so when I get my Perfector ready, I do that first thing. I usually will just sit down, grab my Perfector, take it to the sink, or if you're right in front of the sink, you know, wash it right there, and it's like while you're getting it wet, and that way it's always gonna be clean and sanitary. But then I will sit it out in my little cup holder. So I have one of these little egg cups from Target, or these are great little finds on Amazon. Okay, I love these because air can circulate so that they can kind of dry and they don't get all, you know, gross when you're not putting on your makeup. Okay, so let it sit out. And while I start putting on my makeup, this is also gonna air dry. And so I know by the time I'm ready to use it, it's gonna be perfect. Now, if you're one of those people that likes to use your stay spray and spray it on it, I definitely recommend keeping your stay spray on one specific part of it. Then you can use that to prime your face, and then you can again let it sit out to dry. And if that area has not dried down enough, just don't use that side. Use the other side, and then you can pounce it all over your face. So this is never meant to swipe across your face. You'll just pull off the product. You really want to bounce it. Hopefully this doesn't take off my makeup because it's not quite all the way at perfect yet, the perfect Perfector. But you guys get what I'm saying. When I'm using this, I'm constantly turning. Okay, so the warmth of your face is going to warm this up. And so right now it feels damp, but as you start using it, you can feel it on your face start to warm up. And that is my cue to turn it slightly. And then I'll use another cool part of the Perfector because it will dry as it's being used and as it's absorbing the excess on your skin. So this will press in, especially anywhere you layer more than one highlight. This is a must-have. I don't recommend even trying to layer any highlight shades without this because you're gonna say it's just increasing the look in my pores, it's not sitting well, it's creasing, all of the things. And since the number one issue with this makeup when you are new to it is applying too much because we aren't used to using such pigmented products, this is the only way to remove too much. There's no other way. You could blend it as much as you want, but it's not gonna come off of your face until you pick it up with this. So this is a must-have, and yes, it works completely different than the other brand and every other sponge I've tried. I have found one that is close, but that is the only one. So the Perfector is a game changer. I honestly don't know how they got it so soft. You can feel the difference, I promise. Okay, so that is the Perfector. How to get it perfect. It will make the biggest difference. Definitely use it. If you're having any troubles with creasing, and looking like it's sitting in your pores, you feel tacky, use your Perfector more, or it just looks like makeup and you want it to look like skin. There you go. That's your answer. Okay, what's next? Okay, so the next thing is kind of application related, but not really. So I've already put on my full face, but I want to show you guys how to get your color on the brush. And I know that sounds really dumb, but it makes a huge difference with these creams. So if you are brand new, know that when you pull your creams out of this tin, sometimes they can have a protective film on top, okay? So they're sitting in warehouse, obviously, kind of depends right now. They're flying off the shelves a lot more quickly, but some of them have maybe been sitting on the warehouse shelves a little bit longer, and they will have kind of like a coating on top so they don't dry out while they're in the tin. So if you feel like your color isn't even coming off your brush much at all, I suggest using your finger and kind of just warming up the top of, you know, kind of just using your finger, using the warmth of your finger to kind of rub off that top layer. It's especially true with our cream eyeshadows. I'm telling you, you really have to rub the layer off of the top of that one. But our contours are the driest. So our highlights are more creamy. They're a little tacky feeling when you dig in, okay? our contours are not. Like, it will not come off on my finger when I just tap in like it will with the creams. I don't know if you can even see that, okay? But if you rub into it and kind of get the warmth of your finger, then you're suddenly gonna have a lot on your finger. Okay, so the way I recommend dipping into all of the creams is different, okay? And I know that like you probably have seen tutorials where people do it in different ways, but this is what has worked for me and has worked for many of my clients over the years. When I find that they're using just way too much product, it's all due to how they're getting their product on the brush. So I always kind of warn people, okay, because these are so much more pigmented than traditional foundation, and you don't realize how little you need until you start wearing it. And it even takes probably a couple of weeks of application before you're like, yeah, I don't need much of this at all. I was wearing way too much in the beginning, because I know I did. Okay, so it also can depend on the brush you're using. But for the most part, I feel like with all the brushes, this is my strategy. Okay, let's say you start with the 30-second hack. Okay, this is the most notorious brush for over application, in my opinion. And it's because people use this pointed end for highlight, and they're swiping in to their creams and getting enough for their full face. Okay, so when you're using this brush or any other brush, I want you to tap, okay? And those 2 taps are enough for an entire area of my face, okay? Now, if you're like me and you're doing your under eyes, I simply usually just tap in with my finger for my under eyes, because I can really control the amount I'm applying. And brushes pick up more, okay? And another thing is that if your brushes are brand new and clean, they pick up even more product than once they look like this and need to be washed. When you freshly clean them with the Houdini brush cleaner, suddenly they're gonna pick up more again. If you are one of those that hates when you can see pan and you like to melt them back down, stir them and make them look like new again, they're soft again. Okay, so if you ever have trouble getting your color on the brush, like it's been sitting in your palette, it will dry out over time. Like my compact in my clutch colors will have to be salvaged. I will have to wipe off the top, and I will have to melt those back down and stir them so they look like new again. But that is an awesome trick to be able to do that. But those will be much softer afterwards. So know that going in, and know that when you touch it, you're gonna get a lot more on your brush than you would with, say, these colors who are starting to dry out actually, okay? So creams are creamier, but I feel like in comparison to our lip and cheeks are much creamier than our highlights are. Our Illuminators are very a different consistency, okay? So I apply those different. So for your color corrector, less is more. I definitely recommend the B squared brush. So when you're having application issues with this brush, I recommend getting this brush. This one picks up less product, and I simply want you to touch it to the cream, buff it on the skin, and build in thin layers. One thick layer you're not gonna like it. It doesn't give near the coverage as buffing in and then pressing on more wherever you need more coverage, okay? So the most question I get asked is contour. And when somebody is like color matched to a contour like Astoria, I'm wearing Astoria on this side. So if you don't know, Astoria is one of our darkest contours. It's not the very darkest, but let me pull up my contours here so you guys can see the difference. Okay, so Cola is obviously the very darkest. This is Indigo, and this is this Shadow? No, this is Astoria. Yeah, Shadow's in my other palette. So Shadow is not meant for your cheeks, only your nose, but it is slightly darker than Astoria. But for the actual face, okay, Astoria is pretty dark. So occasionally I have someone that's like, Astoria's not showing up on me, and I know that they're definitely gonna be able to see Astoria. You guys, our contours are dry. Like the driest by far is Olive, which is what I have on this side. Now I wear Mango Sandy, I wear dark highlight shades, and you can still see those mid-tone shades on me, no problem. But that's all because I know how to get it on the brush. And most people are doing this. Okay, and then they wonder why they can't see it. Okay, so this one is, I think, henna. No, this is Olive. Okay, this is Olive, and this came out of my Artist Compact, meaning it's pretty dry. So I want you to pounce. I want you to put, the only one to put real pressure on when you're getting your color on the brush is the contour. I promise you barely need to touch the highlights, but the contours, you gotta pounce. So I don't recommend swiping. It doesn't even give an even layer on your brush. This brush especially. So I like to do it at an angle so I can really see where the color's on my brush, and I pounce. And then you can see it as clear as day. That color is evenly distributed on half of my brush, and I can easily just, here I have it on this side already. I can easily just press it on right there, and you can see it no problem on me. Okay, so even though Olive is a mid-tone, I usually wear Astoria, so I don't have to apply as much. You can still use the mid-tones, they will show up on you. I would say if you are mango or darker, then do not try to wear the mid-tone shades. Definitely stick with Astoria or Indigo. If you are, I'm Sandy, I can wear them all. Anything lighter than Sandy, most definitely the mid-tone shades will all show up on you. You're just not applying enough product, and the product's not getting on your brush. So just remember, contours are super dry. Now, if it gets so dry in your compact that you can't get it on the brush whatsoever, no matter how much you pounce and how much pressure you put on, it's time to melt it down. Maybe it's like been sitting in your compact ever since the beginning of quarantine and you haven't worn makeup. Then go ahead and melt it back down, stir it with a toothpick, and it'll be brand new. And in fact, it's gonna be really soft the first time you use it. Okay, so the same kind of goes with the lip and cheeks. Some of our lip and cheeks are a little bit drier than others, and then some are really soft. So the glosses really don't take much. I simply tap, tap. That's it. Tapping with not a lot of pressure to get it on the brush, and then slowly building up that color. Okay, so some of our lip and cheeks, if I tap in once and apply it, it's too dark. So I will literally tap on the back of my hand before I go in with the rest of my makeup, because I don't want to have to then take off the excess. But of course, you can always fix it. It's creams, you're not setting it yet. Illuminators are another opposite, okay? Our Illuminators are really versatile, meaning, I think everybody can wear every shade. It's really personal preference on like how natural or how bling-in you want it to look, especially if you go into our powder illuminators. Like those can be give you a really wet looking highlight. So this is rose gold. I love it. If you are anywhere in my skin tone, it's my favorite. In fact, this is a perfume, but it's also rose gold. So those are completely different. Those I swipe in with a lot. And I don't use my fingers because I feel like it doesn't show up as much, and I can sometimes see fingerprints on my face. So I use the Perfector, and I'm talking like 5 or 6 times, and then you can see it on the Perfector, and then I simply just press it on and it will blend it and apply at the same time, and just repeat until it is as bright or as subtle as you want. If it's too bright, flip it around to the other side and then perfect and kind of blur that out. So the Illuminators with the Perfector is my favorite way to apply those. Again, with the powder Illuminators, those are much more intense. So I'll show you real quick. Those I don't recommend swiping in either, or you're gonna get a lot of color. Like if I was to swipe in to this, can you see how much that is, okay? These things are extremely pigmented. Have you ever seen Glamazing swatched? Okay, it's a lot. Like that is too much for my preference. So, oh my gosh, look how much is still in the brush. So I recommend the Best Blend Forever brush for those. And I simply go tap, tap, and then I tap off excess, okay? And that is enough for me and that's still, oh gosh, that's still a lot. So I'm just gonna grab my Perfector, take off a little bit, kind of blend that in. Okay, so, oh my gosh. So those are a little bit more intense. So if you have tried the creams and you're not getting the glow factor you want, trust me, you can get it from the powders. Okay, so we covered highlights, okay? Tap in. Again, with like the brighteners, just tap in. With the Buffy brush, don't swipe. This one for sure picks up the most amount of product in comparison with this one. Tap in, and I promise, you guys, even if I use this for contour, I pounce for contour. I tap, barely tap for highlight. No matter what brush I'm using for highlight, I tap. And the only thing I really swirl in is my bronzer, okay? I do swirl in my bronzer and powder. So Vanilla Dust is also one that I feel like less is more depending on where you're applying it. I love our Vanilla Dust for under the eyes because it is finely milled enough for me to use under my eyes and not to age me, but it's all in the amount you use. So if you're having trouble with maybe your under eyes still looking, you know, either you're getting creasing and you've used the Perfector a lot, but then you're applying your powder, but you're still getting creasing, like this will stop creasing as long as you've set it enough. If you don't put enough powder, it still could crease if you have an excess. If you put too much powder, it can make you look older. So that's why I love the Power Powder Brush, because it actually, I can really control exactly how much I get by simply touching. And that's all I do. That is enough for my entire under eye. And it's enough that it sets it in place, stops it from creasing, and doesn't age me, which is key. Now, if I'm using it for like my lids or anything like that, then I swipe in. Do you see the difference? Huge difference. If you're wanting to set all your highlighted areas, if you're oily and want to press this into your pores to kind of keep that oil at bay, this brush is awesome for that. Then you can apply it heavier. I just don't recommend it heavy under the eyes if you're like me and have aging eyes and that's a problem area for you. Okay, you can also do the same thing with your Perfector and apply that. Okay, that is way too much. If I was to do that with my under eyes, I would get all kinds of issues. Okay, but I can use this and barely tap and get just a little bit. I usually will press it on the back of my hand first and then I'll go in with that. Okay, so it's knowing how much to use, and it takes a little bit of trial and error with these creams because they're so different. Knowing exactly how much is gonna like come onto your brush and then get transferred to your face. If you are swiping in and then going to your face and wondering why you are muddying up your colors because you're using one brush for your entire face, it's because too much has been left on your brush. So I was showing this one earlier on swiping in, and you can still see the color. On a normal everyday basis, when I do my face and I apply it, there's no color left on the brush because it's not in excess. I hope that helped. I know I have an entire separate video on just foundation brushes and kind of how to use each one that might help as well. But for the most part, pounce in with your contour, tap for your highlight. You can be generous with your illuminator, be easy on the powder under the eyes, and I think that about covers it. I hope those tips help. Hopefully those are things you haven't heard a million times and some things that will help you, maybe not directly with application, but it still will help with application in the long run. If you have any questions at all, or if you need a color match for Maskcara Beauty, my color match questionnaire link request, whatever you want to call it, is down in the description box below the video, and I'd be happy to help you find your perfect shades. So I hope this helped. Please let me know what you guys want to see next. Did this help? Do you like these kind of troubleshooting tips and tricks videos? Please let me know. I love to hear from y'all. And of course, thank y'all for watching. Love you. Bye.